wind blowing up the swell. It was going to be fairly eventful. On board with Donadio and Johan Rudewijk as they leave the Orient Beach. It was going to be very choppy conditions all throughout. Once the boats hit the open water or deep water, conditions would flatten out a bit. Lionel Ball and Bungadi Hendesi in the Aquadam boat taking an early lead. In the blueprint class, it was Stein Basson and Jan Kriel taking the lead, but they were being chased hard by Stefan Lindeke and Audrey Brunt, the faculty training boat, trying to keep in touch with the duo from Wellington. Doing well in the blueprint class as well, it's Roque Erasmus and Siyabonga Gonubie currently in third position. This man likes the long hauls, he likes long distances, very much an Agulhas and transatlantic specialist as well. On board with the Nadia, riding and chasing hard behind Lionel Ball and Bungadi Hendesi at the moment, while the teams are waiting on the beachfront at the Orient to see who's going to be coming through first. You can see the swells there just pushing through as they come down towards the Orient. And leading in the standard class, it's Wild Africa Cream, Foster and Taliart. But trouble for Lionel Ball in the Aquadam boat, complaining about a shudder in the propeller. And that would cost him the long haul. So in front, it's Donadio taking over the lead. It's Johan Rudewijk, and he's really has a lot of pace, not fast enough. Been caught here by Mike Hutting and Candice Pretorius in the Mtati Projects boat. So Hutting showing that he clearly doesn't lack the pace to compete in these long haul events. In the blueprint class, Peter Wise and Corne Smith in the South Transport coming through to complete a lap at the Orient Beach. Fourth place overall for them at the moment. Not quite as good as they wanted to be. A little bit off the pace on the days. The boats are coming down towards the Orient Beach. Trouble for the Thatchers. Blueprint duo of Van Tonde and Janian. Looks like engine trouble keeping them out of the running. Simon Ford and Trevor Townsend, the standard class, third place at the moment for them, just behind Gordon Butler and Werner Miller. As the Alcazar duo come through, in some choppy water, almost getting the rail of that boat over that wave. He just keeps it under control. That would have been serious trouble for the Alcazar duo. Barry Marks and Robert Gower at Century Electrical Nashua M2. That the engine trouble continuing for Marks on the day, and not been having a very good season. But a great run for Mike Hutting and Candice Pretorius and Mtati Projects coming through 150 kilometers under the belt as they take the overall win. The standard class going to Foster and Taliart, Wild Africa Cream. Blueprint class, Stein Basson and Jan Kriel in Varte Industrials. And the modified class going to Mike Hutting and Candice Pretorius. So with a long haul a thing of the past, we now turn our attention to surf racing. We go to Gonubie, 20 kilometers outside of East London. This is one venue that always delivers really, really big surf on the national calendar. One team that is from the area, they live in Gonubie. It's Zane Schonknath with the Chalk Air boat. He's not competing on the national calendar this year, but with the surf being up, it's his local water, and he's looking out for a great weekend.
Can't order the weather, but today is going to be exceptionally good racing. I think the main thing is just to keep the boat upright and concentrate on not going over.
Wild Africa Cream's Foster and Taliart were currently leading the charge on the SA Standard Class Championship. They're from Western Cape, and this was their kind of water.
There's a swell this morning, quite a lot of white water, so yeah, this is our kind of water. I just hope it goes good.
It's going to be interesting to see how this one turns out as we go into the H&H Transport Standard Class Heat number 1. And from the word go, as Forsten Taliart had got the whole shot, the Wild African Cream boat on a charge and leading the way, closely pursued by Amaral and Reda and the Caprica boat. And of course, Amaral and Reda from East London, they know the water out here quite well. Local knowledge of the water playing off on board of Foster and Taliart. Look how skillfully they tackle the rough little chops in the front there, and you can see it's fairly rough out there. Bukali Petroleum's Fort and Townsend, also an East London crew, know the water out here. A lot of these teams practice in the Gonubie water, and this is how they get ready for those big swells. The race progressed quite fast. Foster and Taliart got away and managed to open the gap on Amaral and Reda. All the Caprica boat could do was limit its losses and hang on to that second place. This is the biggest surf we've seen so far on the SA national calendar. And one more event coming up. They can promise some big surf down in Bloberg. It's going to be an interprovincial in Cape Town. And that event always delivering some big surf as well. Fort and Townsend, Bukani Petroleum pushing very hard to try and close that gap down to second place. Amaral and Reda and the Caprica, they did a fairly good job though. The world champ in the standard class, it's Gordon Butler and Werner Miller, the Alcazar Thundercat. Spoke to him, he says he's going to be riding all of the surf races next year once to get his surf riding skills better. As we watch Dodson Freestone going through with that boat, hitting that wave sideways, and he goes over that pontoon, just digging in. He gets a little bit off balance. 70% of the race has been run. So whoever's in front at this time, I think it's Foster and Taliart. Yes, it is. As we watch them going through the W, they don't know that boat has gone over. They'll be taking the win And just watch Kwesi Taljaard in the front there as they hit these little swells and breakers. They go through to take the first heat. Wild Africa Cream on a roll here in Gonubie in East London. Second heat on the way in the H&H Transport Standard Class. It's Amaral and Reda off to a great start, but they're being pursued by the Wild Africa Cream boys. Not going to let them get away. Foster and Taljaard are so fast in these rough conditions. They dominated the Transagullis. I think Brendan Amaral is going to have his work cut out for him as we look at the boats going through those conditions. Fukani Petroleum, Fortin Townsend this time round in 5th place as Dawes and Freestone, the Emerald Fireboat, got themselves sorted out, and they're currently in 3rd place, just behind Amaral and Reda, taking those little chops. But look at Ford coming back at him, going wide and having to pick a line. This is the difference in surf racing. The waves are the big equalizers. And looks like Amaral still ahead of Wild Africa Cream there. Looks like Amaral just keeping that Caprica boat ahead of the Wild Africa Cream duo. Yes, he is still ahead. Foster and Taljaard just behind him. But that looks like Amaral's local knowledge of the water coming into play, and some big jumps being taken by the boys as they go through. Butler and Miller going into the back line with the Elgazay Thundercat now moving along at high speed. They're trying to make up positions here, but it's not working. Caprica is just applying the pressure at the front. They're managing to stay away, but Foster and Taljaard's now making a move. The heat is on. Who's going to come out on top? This is going to be a tight challenge. There's contact between the two boats. Caprica being pushed hard by Foster and the Wild Africa Cream boat. Now they're going down for that beach marker. Caprica's got the lead, but it's only a nose length of a boat as they go around that marker. Now Foster's going to push hard. They're going to be side by side going into the swell and going through these breakers. Who's going to have the pace and the right prop choice here? It's all down to skill as they move in on these little breakers. Caprica's got the nose ahead once again, just managing to pull away from Foster. And I think Foster might be a bit surprised by the pace of the Caprica boat as they head towards that back line. Local boys, Fort and Townsend, 4th place at the moment, trying to make a close down on 3rd place. Fort and Townsend pushing very hard to close down to Butler. Can they do it? We'll have to wait and see. Going down the back line now. This is the last marker, and look at that. Foster manages to get on the inside of the Caprica boat. Now Foster is going to open up the taps, and I don't think Amaral is going to stay with him. He's going to be opening up the gap here as you watch Emerald Fires as Dawes and Freestone going through. They went over in the first heat. It cost them the heat, and let's hope they keep it together. But Foster and Taljaard making a clear run for the line there. Caprica's got to chase all the way, but no laps left to go. They're on the second last lap here, and I think Foster is going to take this win. Yes, he is. Foster and Taljaard, the Wild Africa Cream boat, taking the second heat. So entering the H&H Transport final in the standard class, could Foster and Taljaard make it 3 in a row? They got the whole shot off the line, getting the Wild Africa Cream boat onto 1st place. And they took some big chances to get there as well. While Fukani Petroleum's Fortin Townsend in 2nd place, closely followed by Caprica's Amaral and Reda in 3rd place. Amaral not taking any chances though. He wants to get to the front as quickly as he can though. He's got quite a bit of gap to make up though, as Fukani Petroleum's Fortin Townsend were being pushed hard as well by Butler and Miller and the Elgazay Thundercat. Could they manage to hold off the charging duo from Gauteng? At the front of the standard class, Caprica's Amaral and Reda changing the tables on Foster and Taljaard in the Wild Africa Cream boat. Knowledge of local water paying off here for the Caprica boys, and now Foster is going to have to do all the chasing. I don't think Amaral is going to make any mistakes here. Of course, if he does, Foster is going to be on him because Foster likes these rough conditions. Alcazay's Butler and Miller going through, taking some jumps and managing to close the gap on Fort and Townsend and managing to take them currently now in 3rd place for the Gauteng duo. Foster and Taljaard, 2nd place, pushing hard to try and catch Caprica's Amaral and Reda. Would they be able to close the gap? It didn't look like it though. Caprica's Amaral and Reda taking the win in the 3rd heat. And a good run from the local duo. Local knowledge of the water paying off in this one, and they got their win at last. But it didn't stop Foster and Taljaard from taking the overall win of the day. Amaral and Reda taking 2nd place, while Fort and Townsend grabbing 3rd. Gordon Butler and Verna Miller in 4th place, while Nick Dodds and Carl Freestone in 5th place overall. Prepare yourself for some high-flying action in the blueprint class as we head off the line, and it's the former world champion competing against the current world champion. In this heat, we've got Clutie and Collins, the current world champions in the blueprint class, competing against the former world champ. They're in sight now. That's Stefan Lindeke and Audrey Brunt in the faculty training boat. Gilbert Marketing got off to a good start, but look at this. It's Chalke, Shonknaft and Wiggle managing to match the pace of the Gilbert Marketing duo off the line as they head towards that backline marker. Clutie and Collins have got the inside line, and they'll be leading towards the beach marker now, being pursued and pushed hard by Shonknacht and Wiggle. Now turning, there's some big sets coming through here. Conditions are picking up, the surface picking up, and the guys are going to take these head on. Let's follow Chalk Air, Shocknaft and Wiggle. First one coming up. They hit it head on. Now that's a huge sideways movement. Shocknaft's going to have to keep control here. There's another set coming through. Wiggle drops his head, and it's another big one. They're taking a pounding out there, and Shocknaft almost loses it, just hanging on. And this time round, it's, who's this? Rocco Erasmus and Siabonga and Gonubie forced to go through there. They had nowhere else to go. Erasmus being pushed right back into that boat. Now it's on to the next one, and it's still Cloutier and Collins leading. And it's Basson and Creel now challenging Chalk Air, who's just dropped off the pace a little bit. But once again, Zane gets the better line through that wave as they now move around the W. But trouble up front for Cloutier and Collins. The Gilbert marketing duo have gone over. And that's really, really sad to see. There's going to be a restart. That means Shocknaft and Wiggle now at the front. After the restart, another one going over. It's Rocco Erasmus losing his co-driver, Siabonga and Gonubie, and a close encounter for Thatcher's Jan van Tonder and Dane Janian as well, almost riding over the rear end there of Jody Collins and Darren Brailing. But now retention moves for the battle for third place. It's Stefan Lindeke and Audrey Brunt. Faculty training being placed under severe pressure by George van Barrel and Bradley Smith. The Iver Smith electrical boat just making it look so easy. At the front, the win would go to Chalk Air, Shocknaft and Wiggle, taking their first heat in the blueprint class. Off for the next heat we go. It's heat number 2. Once again, Shocknaft and Wiggle at the front. They're pushing hard. They're challenging. This time, George van Barlen and Bradley Smith coming close to them. But it's clear that Chalk Air have got a good run. Thatcher, Spartan Hire, Van Tonder and Jalian, 5th place overall for the Port Elizabeth base duo. They're not on the pace at the moment, struggling with a bit of top end. This is the battle for 4th place as we go through. It's Van Barlen and Smith trying to put Cloutier and Collins under pressure in the Gilbert marketing boat. And it looks like Van Barlen just has the pace to pull away from the world champ there as they head out towards that back line. Van Barlen is on a flyer. The Iver Smith electrical duo really pushing hard to try and push Cloutier and Collins behind them. Onto the last lap we go as the crews make their way to the back line, being led by Chalk Air and Collins and Bailing their hand in the air. There must be a problem there. But at the front, the local duo, Chalk Air, Shocknaft and Wiggle, taking another win. The second heat, 2 wins back to back for Chalk Air. Can they make it 3 in a row? We'll have to see as we go into the final. And this time round, Zane doesn't get the pull off the line. It's going to go to Cloutier and Collins, the Gilbert marketing duo, getting the whole shot. But look on the inside line there. It's Stefan Lindeke and Audrey Brunt trying to challenge the world champs. Lindeke getting over that wave, looking to the right. This man knows surf. He's a former surfer, and he knows exactly how to ride these waves. He took control at the front and led the race. Cloutier and Collins dropping back a bit, but look at this. Shocknaft and Wiggle going past the outside of Stan Basson and Jan Creel there. Pace, not a problem at all. Now he's going after the leader. Is he going to be able to catch them? This is Ivor Jones Electrical. Van Barlen and Smith being pushed by Thatcher's Jan van Tonder and Dane Janian. Van Tonder's been struggling with pace for that Thatcher's Spartan higher boat. I don't know what's going on there, but he's not on the pace at all. Neither of these guys, Peter Wise and Corney Smith. South Trans taking some big jumps. That co-driver in the front not moving around at all, just getting his head down. As we go to the front, looks like Shocknaft has made contact with Lindeke. Going around the outside, he does as well. A great amount of speed being shown by Chalk Air there. Shocknaft and Wiggle continuing the pace they showed in heats 1 and 2. Now they're in the lead. As we go to the tail end of the pack, it's Collins and Brailing in the blueprint class. Right at the tail of the field, we find them. Not on the pace, but our attention moves to the front as Chalk Air has to defend the line from charging Lindeke. But he goes around the outside, showing Chalk Air has no problem with the pace at all, matching the speed and outrunning Lindeke. The battle for second place, it's Lindeke being put under pressure here by Basson and Creel, the Barty Industrials boat, and they take them on the inside line. And now more pressure for Lindeke. He's got to deal with Van Barlen and Smith, the Ivor Smith electrical boat taking him as well. Lindeke losing 2 positions in a matter of 10 seconds. Going into the last lap now. This is Gilbert marketing. Cloutier and Collins charging down that back line, trying to gain some speed. Shocknaft and Wiggle, they're on the last lap. Oh no! Zane has thrown that one away. The boat goes over. This is the last lap he could have had this win. He hangs on. Look at, they hang on to the last minute, but it's all over. The win would go to Basson and Creel. George van Barlen and Bradley Smith taking second place. Well, Stefan Lindeke and Audrey Brunt in third. Shocknaft and Wiggle having to settle for 4th place overall. So that flip costing Shocknaft the overall winner of the day. We caught up with him afterwards and asked him about the heat.
I had a bad start, and I think I was lying about 5th, 6th, somewhere around there, and managed to call my way back to first place. And from then on, it was a bit of a argy-bargy with keeping first and second, swapping and changing almost. And then I think I lost a bit of concentration on the last lap. I took the white flag, acknowledged it, and then about 30 seconds after that I put it over. So now these things happen, and probably I've got a lot to learn from that. But anyway, that's the way my final ended, but it was most enjoyable.
Such a great sportsman he is too. We caught up with Stan Basson, winner of the first day's action in the blueprint class.
Yeah, going into the final we had a three-way tie with George van Baalen and Stefan Lindekue, and either the one who won should be in second place after Zane being in first place in the first two heats. And we came through and we overtook Stefan, we overtook George, and we put some pressure on Zane in last lap, and he flipped well, unfortunately for him but fortunately for us, and gave us a first overall for the day. So being consistent paid off again.
From the blueprint class, we move into the modifieds, the fastest boats on the water at the moment. And the man who got the whole shot from the word go, it was Lionel Ball, Bongani and Desi, the Aquadam boat, putting on the pressure from the front, but they were pushed hard by Johan Lodewijks and Isak Nieuwoud in the Nadio boat. And Tati Projects, Michael Hutton and Candice Pretorius being left to chase, and Hutton pushing really, really hard to try and close the gap down to Lodewijks. Barry Mark, Century Electrical Nashua, having some engine trouble throughout the entire national season, and it didn't seem to end even in Gonubie. He was suffering with those motor problems, giving him a chance to rebuild his confidence and get his rig set up. Of course, we've got the ice block coming up. That's one of the races that Barry always does so well in. Expecting to see that as well this year. Michael Hutton and Pretorius hitting those waves head on. Pretorius gets the head down as they go head to head with that wall of water, and Mike Hutton just makes it look so easy. But it was the Aquadam boat of Lionel Ball and Bongani and Desi that went through flying to take the first heat in the modified class, with some great driving skills at the front. It wasn't going to be all his way though. In the second heat, things would change around a little bit. This time round, it was Michael Hutton and Candice Pretorius, the Mtati Projects boats, getting the whole shot on Lionel Ball and Bongani and Desi, and also leaving the Nadio boat standing as they get to that backline marker. First, Lodewijks was forced to chase and see if he could close the gap down. He managed to get past Lionel Ball, but Michael Hutton was in the distance, and it didn't seem like anybody was going to catch him, but you can never count your luck in the surf. Candice Pretorius gets a head down, and Lionel Ball was right on top of them, as was Johan Lodewijks. The three boats going side by side in that wave, but once again, Ball coming off third best between the three boats, not getting over that wave fast enough. Holding steady in fourth place, it's Century Electrical Nashua's Barry Marks and Robert Gower, modified to second place last year for him in the SA Modified Championships. As we watch the Nadio coming through, this is the man who's got M1 on his boat. He's so fast in these conditions. Johan Lodewijks going through and now jumping. He's been leading for a couple of laps though. But look at this, Mike Hutton on the outside. Candice Pretorius and Michael Hutton taking some risks here to try and take that first place away from Lodewijks. Now that's going to be a big challenge all the way down to that back boy. Who's going to get there first? Keep in mind, Hutton's got the inside line. It's the Nadio on the outside. If Mike Hutton plays his cards right here, he could be leading from this lap on. Oh, and he passes right in front of Denadio there. Mike Hutton does. He doesn't take any chances. And I tell you what now, I think Lodewijks could be swearing inside his helmet at the moment. And Tati Projects takes the lead there. That is the third last lap, and I don't think anybody's in a clinch this one away from Michael Hutton. He knows the local water so well. He's going to apply the pressure, and he does. Coming through to take the win, Candice Pretorius and Michael Hutton taking the win in the second heat. As we move in right now, this is the third and final heat. Once again, Denadio and Tati Projects side by side as they get off the line first. Looks like Mike Hutton might just have a bit of pull on the Denadio boat there. Could be running a 14 in the surf, and I think that might be the prop of choice on the day. Very choppy conditions as Tati comes through around the first beach marker. Desi followed by Denadio. And of course, Lionel Ball, Bongani and Desi third place at the moment in the Aquadam boat. There they are. And things not going all their own way. They had trouble in the long haul on day one after they struck something in the water, complaining of a propeller shudder. But a man who made no mistakes is Michael Hutton and Candice Pretorius and Tati Projects leading Nadio, who was left to chase all the way. But he wouldn't stand a chance in closing the gap down to Mike Hutton. So the win overall for the surf races will go to Mike Hutton and Candice Pretorius, Lionel Ball, Bongani and Desi in second place, while Johan Lodewijks and Isak Nieuwoud taking third place in the modified class. We went looking for Barry Marks to find out exactly what was the trouble on the day.
Oh man, too much bad luck. I thought we sorted it out, but it wasn't the case. We hacked a lot of
most of the time actually react. So going back to the drawing board again just demotivates you a little bit. Takes a lot out of the person to do all the races off each other, and I think I just lost a bit of interest. But I'll go back to the drawing board. I'll try and make sure that I'm ready for the ice block in 2 weeks.
It was Sunday morning and time for round 2 of the Gonubie National. The drivers being warned of the ever-increasing bad sea conditions out on the water. Time for the H&H Transport standard class as we get off the line. You can see how choppy it was in the Sunday morning. Foster and Talia taking command at the front, leading from the word go, leaving Amaral and Reda to chase in the Caprica boat. But things not going all their way for the Alcazar boat of Butler and Miller hitting the wave. They stall the motor and Butler is not able to get it going again. That would cost them some points in this heat as the race would have to get restarted without them. And it would be a 3-horse race between Butler and Miller, Amaral and Reda, and Ford and Townsend in the Bucali Petroleum boat. This time round, the Wild Africa Cream Boys showing us just how to get through those waves as they get some air. Flying along as Caprica's Amaral and Reda would have to settle for second place this time round, not being able to close the gap to Foster and Talyard. The Wild Africa Cream Boys showing just how to handle the rough conditions that made them so famous in the Trans-Gullis. Wild Africa Cream going through to take the first heat in the H&H standard class. The second heat, it was almost a rollover for Caprica's Amaral and Reda having to hang on. They spoke to him. He says he hasn't gone over in 3 years, but he almost did. This time round, he misses the boy as well. That allowed Gordon Butler and Werner Miller to go through to take second place in the heat, just behind Foster and Talyard. So not a good run there for Caprica's Amaral and Reda, but some huge waves on the day, and they'll have to fight through these breakers. Look at this as Foster and Talyard go head through into that one. Of course, he just shakes his head. I don't know how they make it through that one in one piece, but they would take the win in the second heat as well. Foster and Talyard, Wild Africa Cream just showing everybody how it's done on the day. Only 2 heats run in the standard class. Foster and Talyard taking the lead. Amaral and Reda in second place in the Caprica boat, while Gordon Butler and Werner Miller taking third in Alcazar. In the blueprint class, the conditions were getting worse by the minute, but the boat still went out. Stefan Lindeke taking an early lead in the heat, number 1 being pursued by Steenbasson and Jan Kriel. Chalk as Schonknacht and Wiggle in there as well, putting the Western Cape boys under some pressure. Engine trouble will see the Thatcher's boat fall out, and it would force a restart to the first heat of the blueprint class as well. Lindeke once again getting off a flyer, but his lead wouldn't last this time round. He'd be chased down by the local boys, making good use of local conditions and the knowledge of the local water. Zane Schonknacht and Dalton Wiggle and the Chalk Air boat coming through and dominating in the first heat of the blueprint class, showing us just how important good knowledge of local water is. Into Heat 2 we go. It was once again Lindeke and Brunt at the front, this time being pursued by the Barter Industrials boat of Steenbasson and Jan Kriel. But where's Schonknacht and Wiggle? There they are, third place. The Chalk Air boat right in there, and they could make it 2 back-to-back wins here if they get past the Barty Industrials boat. Thatcher's on the pace, got the engine trouble sorted out. Jan van Tonder could be very happy about that. He's back in the action. Lindeke leads, and Chalke managed to get past Steenbasson and Jan Kriel from the Western Cape. Of course, these guys love these rough conditions. Once again, Gullis specialists, but this time round it looks like the local boys are putting the ears on them. Ivor Smith Electrical, that's George van Barle and Bradley Smith running in 4th place at the moment, trying to close the gap down. Just on 3 laps to go, and Chalk Air managed to catch up with Stefan Lindeke. A clear amount of pace being shown there by Zane Schonknacht as he moves past the former world champion. Oh, and Lindeke almost going over. You can see that offshore wind just catching him out there. He's got to keep his head about himself now as they head through these choppy bits going into the W. But Schonknacht would take the win with an absolutely fantastic drive. Only 2 heats been run and the boats will be pulled off the water. We spoke to Andre Haynes as to the reasons why.
The race has been pulled off, and the reason being that due to adverse sea conditions and the safety of the boats, the drivers and the co-drivers, we decided to only have 2 heats, which is 2/3 of the race.
And a good choice that was as well. Schonknacht and Wiggle taking the win in the Chalk Air boat. Stefan Lindeke and Audrey Brunt second faculty training, while Steenbasson and Jan Kriel being third on the day. That concludes our race coverage from the last national in East London. We'll catch you again. The next race would be the Ice Block as we head up to Gauteng for some action on the Vaal. See you there. All the racing action was proudly brought to you by Red Square Reload. Get